I feel bad that I never know what episode 20,
21.
right?
21.
God.
20 was burner episode B that we called 19 the entire time.
And I want to apologize to all our listeners about the last 2 episodes.
There's a reason we named him burner episode and burner episode B.
And if we ever label something a burner episode, know that we didn't plan, prepare, or in that case, both of them have anything meaningful to talk about.
Yeah. Nor did it involve actual skiing.
And anything to do with skiing. So, but I think that's the good news is we finally got out and skied yesterday.
Yep.
Man, if you're not a full-time skier, you might not know this, but weekday skiing is the way to go.
It's where it's
So
at.
nice.
There was nobody there.
Nobody there. They had 3 runs open.
So we went to
essentially.
Eldora,
Yeah.
which is 20 minutes west of Boulder. We talk about it a lot on the podcast, not because it's the best ski area in North America, but because it's our favorite.
It's
I would
right
also,
there.
Yeah, it's the closest.
Yeah, because I came in and did meaningful work here at the studio, and then I think we wheeled stuff at about 1. There was some traffic in the canyon. They're doing some construction, but we got up there and on the slopes by 2 and skied. My goal is to ski 10,000 feet, and Strava said 9,900.
That's such a bummer.
In less than an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we didn't get kicked off the mountain. We could have gotten probably at least another run in. So
I got 12,000. Well, 11,900.
Yeah, because you got up there a little bit earlier.
Yep.
So me and Mel and Marcus skied Eldora. And funny thing, well, let's start with number 1. Nobody was there.
Yep.
And then, man, I really hate like bashing Eldora, but the muddy parking lot, it's emotionally, I was so excited.
It's hard.
And it's all snowy driving up there. And you're like, it's going to be, there's snow down in town. And then you go around the corner and it's just, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I better put it in 4-wheel drive.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's hard packed. Thankfully, it's not like a mud pit, but it's muddy.
Oh,
It's dirty.
Dave almost fell twice on ice patches.
yeah. So I walking over, cursing the mud, and then it's not all mud. There's some ice buried under there. And I did one of those cartoon moves like, and man, that's how it should have went yesterday, is getting all muddy and breaking a hip before skiing. But I didn't go down.
We don't talk about hips.
Right. I recovered.
That's important.
And then no lift line, chair lift up. I get off. I'm going to go left. And the first not even turn is on glare ice. Another cartoon move. Didn't crash. But then after that, the snow was pretty good.
It was pretty good. You just had to avoid the center of the run, which is pretty standard. That's kind of the advice you give every time about skiing, is like ski towards the trees. That's where it kind of piles up and you have better snow. And that was definitely true yesterday.
Although
on all the runs.
On all the runs.
But so Dave, our first run before we hooked up with you, we did Jolly Jug, and Dave did left side of the run. I did right side of the run.
Other way around.
Oh, whatevs. And it was, the side I chose was poor. It was awful. It was all icy. Had definitely been in the sun during the day. It was not good.
And I personally give this tip all the time, but people look at me like I have 6 eyes. Like, pay attention to, I think the proper term would be like the aperture of like where's the sun coming from? And on this run, it goes directly east, which isn't ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But that means there's trees on the right-hand side that are blocking the sun that's coming from the south. And so right next to the trees there, I'll bet those things don't see sun all year.
Yeah.
I mean, all winter.
Have to.
Because it's blocked. And so, and you learn ski areas, you learn this is good. But in general, the sun comes up in the east. It goes kind of the southern sky this time of year and then sets in the west. Everybody knows that. But then you should be able to understand where the sun has been shining all day. And Mel found out the hard way that on the left side of this run, it's basically south facing.
Yeah.
And I would have expected the potential. And I know why you went over there, because you were hoping that the sun had set it up.
Yeah.
And the only way to find out if that's the case is to try it out.
But I would just
I
like
had
to
hoped
say
that it
really
would've.
quick, though, do people really know that, Dave? Like, do you think that people really know that?
I want people to know that because it's an important part of skiing. And I feel like every time I go skiing, I have a plan on where I'm going to ski. And you're not always right, but you learn. And sometimes it's the left side because it's sheltered from the sun. Sometimes it's the right side because it's in the sun and it's above 30 degrees and things like that. And so it's not rocket science, but it also goes a long ways. And a great example of that is Vail, Colorado. You can go there on a great snow day and go off the backside. All that stuff faces south and have the worst snow conditions of your whole life, where then you go up the other side and everything's facing north and it's mint. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people they'll ski on the south face and they'll be like, the snow is terrible. Like the backside of Copper Mountain, for example, I love Copper, but it's always terrible because it faces south. And the only time it's going to be good is if it snowed a bunch.
Yeah.
And then the next day the sun comes out, it's ruined again until it snowed. So I call that you commute. Like you have to cut through there to get to Three Bears. You have to ski down the backside of Vail to get up to the other side. And so you basically have to commute and figure out, are the trees where to go, or do you just take your chops like at Vail and ride the catwalk and just get it over with? So
I feel like we should ask Kate to do some sort of a poll to find out if people are like, do people make conscious decisions on runs they do based on where the sun goes? Because I just don't think most people
I think that
way.
would be true for people who ski a lot. I think that people who don't ski a lot, it would never come into their mind.
Okay, sorry, because I know you're about to say something, but you just nailed it, because we were talking about skiing on the edges yesterday, and you said something to the effect that beginners don't want to ski on the edges because they're afraid of hitting the trees or they don't have their confidence in making the right turns. But the point is it's easier to ski on the edges yesterday. And so when we go back to this direction of the sun, I think you're right. Experienced skiers pay attention to this kind of thing, but beginners should pay attention to this kind of thing, because if you go up to Eldora, and we'll pick on Eldora a little bit, and you're like, I'm just going to ski the front side, it faces east. It's not going to be great most days. It's going to have the propensity to have gotten baked and then frozen, which means ice. Where then if you go even over to Indian Peaks or the backside, now you're facing north and northwest. And I mean, we're talking, if you were to give snow a letter grade, the difference between a D and an A on the same day, depending on what direction the run faces.
Yeah.
Another good example is the Olympia Bowl at Highlands faces west, and that you can get away with that all year till the spring.
Yeah.
And then in the spring, when the sun is just baking it because it's facing the sunset, it gets ruined. And you're thinking, man, the last time I hear this was plush and the conditions are even better now. But you can learn.
Yeah.
Just go and pick a ski area and learn. I pay attention to it. And then Mel, just to your comment about, do you think people really pay attention? Well, some people do, because this is something my dad taught me. And he was like, you're going to want to ski on these runs. And I would say, let's go to the backside. And he would say, it's going to be terrible back there. And so my dad absolutely pays attention to it. And then the last thing,
the rocket surgeon
I
pays
know,
attention.
I was literally rolling my eyes when he said that, because I was like, oh, you mean your astrophysicist dad who used to work for Ball Aerospace and put things into space is the guy that told you, oh, pay attention to where the sun is in the sky and it helps snow conditions. And that's the average person. Your dad is literally the smartest person I've ever met.
Well, but my point is you can learn.
You pay attention to the smart people.
You
No,
pay
none of us are smart. We just pay attention to smart people.
And then it's not just the direction the runs face, but then elevation.
Mhm.
Like one of our favorite runs is the Glades at the bottom of Copper Mountain. But because they're at the bottom of Copper Mountain, they're very susceptible to temperature changes. Where if you go up to the top of Copper Mountain, Drain Pipe is probably this one run that's always good because it's at 11,000 feet and it faces, not ideally, it faces east a little bit. So we've already said that can be bad, but at 11,000 feet, east is okay.
Yeah.
So live and learn. So Ryan, sorry I cut you off there.
You remember what you were going to say?
Yeah, I do.
Are you still here?
Oh, I'm here. I think before you can know where to ski, you have to know your cardinal directions, which is hard.
Just look at the sun, man. Well, don't look directly at the sun.
But it's not, it's something that takes a little bit of time to be like, oh, I can know where the sun is and know which way I'm facing. Because I mean, you walk outside your front door, you might not know, am I facing west or north? And I think it was tough for me to learn. It took some time. Now I understand it.
The mountains from Denver are west.
Or west. And so but you bring up a good point. Figure out what north, south, east, west is. And most of the ski areas in Colorado, the base of the ski area is the runs are facing north, the chairlifts go to the south. If you think about Copper Mountain, Vail, Winter Park, Telluride, Aspen, Highlands, Snowmass, they're all because that's where the snow lives, is on the north side. That somebody made a apparel line with that saying, the North Face.
Oh.
Yeah, it's coming
Is
together.
that what that means?
Okay, and just
I
for
actually
that,
didn't put that together until now, but it does make a lot of sense.
I would just like to go back to that PSA: do not look directly into the sun.
Yes. And also I would like to annotate everything I just said about north only matters in the northern hemisphere. That if you're in Chile or Australia or something, everything's exactly
Swap
the
that.
opposite, that you ski the south face of everything.
Sun rises in the west, sets in the east.
All right.
The
let's-
toilet. Wait. Doesn't the toilet water go a different
It
direction?
does. It goes
too?
the opposite direction.
Yeah, okay.
So they say.
I think that's been a debatable topic, actually, recently.
Yeah, did they just reverse the video?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, and
Earth is
Dylan
flat.
and Ryan are going to New Zealand next week. So you guys are
We'll
going to.
report back.
Yeah, you got to report back for sure.
We'll take a video before you leave of the toilet flushing here, and so you can do a side by side
Please, with
analysis.
nothing in it. Please, God, with
Just for
nothing
you.
in it.
I would like to bring up maybe a tangential topic, which is, have you guys seen the news of Eldora in the last 4 days?
No.
That the town of Nederland is considering buying it.
Expressed interest.
Expressed interest. And listen, I love Ned. And what I want to talk about in a bit is, like, we went to dinner in Ned last night and how awesome it was. I'm going to tell you about the best restaurant in Colorado, potentially.
Are you going to give away secrets? Are we ever going to be able to get a table with all the people that listen to how to ski it? Are we ever going to be able to get a table
Our
again?
millions of followers.
But I don't think so. And this is what the news said, that Netherlands showed interest in buying Eldora, and then the price they thought was going to be between $100,000 and $200,000. Like, that range makes it sound not serious to me, because I don't know that Nederland has $100 million, but I know they don't have $200 million. And I get you need to have like 10%, and
Right.
is my guess. I've never bought in a
Is that
ski
what you
area.
meant
Yeah.
by saying the 100,000 to 200,000?
Yes,
Million.
million.
Oh,
is
that
the
was
right
like
word,
million.
Matt.
Okay,
Oh,
I got very confused. I was like, wait, guys,
I can
we
do it.
can
We
do
can do
this.
We can do this.
I'm serious. We can get in on this.
We would be good owners if somebody wants to invest in
Yeah.
the how to ski it LLC.com.
Hint.
But I did see that, Dylan. And with that said, I think Nederland would be a great owner. And I think a lot of people would be disappointed, because I think unless Vail or Altera buys it, I kind of wonder if it's going to stay in the Icon Pass. And so that's going to be tough sledding for people like us, that's going to be a second ski pass or a third ski pass. But I think it would be worth it. If I could pay, let's say, $750 for just an Eldora pass and not have it be part of a mega pass, I would do that, because it used to be much more everywhere in America used to be much more manageable to ski, but Eldora has to the extreme gotten less manageable to ski on weekends that
Yeah.
you can't even get into the parking lot, yada da da da, and then it's just mobbed. The lifts are the parking lot's mobbed, the lifts are mobbed, the runs are mobbed, the bar's mobbed.
Yeah.
Where and I could be wrong here, but I feel like Copper and Winter Park haven't always been that way, but they don't have these days where you pull up and you're like, nope, not doing it. And maybe that's because they're further away.
I think that helps. Eldora being the closest to Denver, especially closest to Boulder, makes it an ideal location for people who just want to get in and out really quick.
Yeah, and I think if I lived in Highlands Ranch or Aurora or something like that, I wouldn't go. I would go to A Basin or something.
Winter Park is closer at that point.
Yeah. And so I think you nailed it. It's really Boulder. And, as far away as it is from Fort Collins, it's still by far the closest ski area for them than to go to Steamboat 3 hours. So anyway, back to almost slipped on the ice. The snow was good.
Yep.
I mean, and so I would give the snow a C+, except there was one little section on the mountain. So you can't ski outside the rope this time of year because there's no snow. Like they needed the man-made snow to make it skiable, even though there has been snow.
Yeah.
But they had moved some of the snowmaking out, and they had dropped some ropes that just left like a 25-foot section that people hadn't been skiing.
Yeah.
And when we started skiing it at the beginning of our ski day, there was like boot tracks and nobody had skied it. And by the end of our ski day, because it was, if all the snow on the mountain was like a C or a C+, this was like a B+, A-.
Yeah.
And it was a very short, like 10 turns, but real ski turns.
Oh, yeah. It was mid-season snow. Like, it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
So there was that little section, but now that it's open, and they must have just dropped the rope on that section that day. And you could see where they'd pulled the hoses out. So it was kind of chopped up. But after skiing it a few times, because it hadn't frozen,
Yep.
we were able to, it was malleable and turn it into good skiing.
It was nice.
Okay, just another quick PSA that we don't ever ski under the ropes.
Oh,
somebody
and what
sort
he
of
meant by
implied
that. No, what he
there.
meant by that was like it wouldn't even be possible.
Right.
Yes, no,
But
I know,
yes,
but
but
then
yes,
it
that's a
sort of
good
had an
PSA.
implication that when the snow is
Right.
better, you could, and we don't do that.
Yeah, we do not advocate cutting ropes.
I agree with that. But exactly to clarify, later in the year, there are no ropes. And those are the trees, which is where I like to ski. So that wasn't you couldn't ski the trees this time of year. There's ropes that guide you on the sides of the run that they remove later in the season. And B, you wouldn't be able to ski on like 5 inches of snow on top of a granite field.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys get your 10,000 feet?
9,900.
11.9.
You stopped at-
5,700.
Like 100 short?
Well, like this is, I'm just going to so what Eldora says, and maybe somebody can pop it up on their computer, is that 6-man chair, which I love because it's so fast and convenient. It says it's like 1,000x, like 1,050 or 75. So 10 runs should have got me there, but 10 runs on Strava got me.
The Strava tax.
Yeah. The Strava tax. So, but it was a good day.
Although one thing that we all talked about was how we couldn't believe we were skiing so early, like we're before Thanksgiving, and how awesome that is.
Yeah, I was super excited. That's the earliest I've ever skied. So I was happy.
And I got some fitness yesterday. I could, towards the end of the day, I got a little bit sloppy. So I was really happy about getting some fitness yesterday. And then I'm a little bit sore this morning. Like yeah, I didn't crash. I almost did.
Yeah, you didn't talk about my favorite cartoon moment that you had.
Man, so it's not safe to hit a jump that comes off the side of the run and launches you out onto the run. But I'd skied over the jump 4 or 5 times during the day. And one of the last times I was like, oh, okay, there's nobody on the mountain. I'm going to go ahead and hit this jump and do some kind of trick. And man, I don't know what happened. One ski caught a ton of air and the other one didn't.
The other one stayed on the ground.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, the fact that I skied out of that was, Because at one point, one ski was like above my head, but
I thought he was going down for sure. I was right behind him and I was just like, oh.
My favorite thing that happened yesterday was the person telling you were making too many turns.
well, he was okay. So there was something I wanted to get onto is a lot of straight lining yesterday, not by us, but by people on the mountain. And I'm skiing over to the side and making like maybe 20-foot radius turns. So not super tight turns, but definitely not wide turns. And a straight liner is like, watch out as he sped by. And I just thought to myself, what is skiing coming to when a straight liner's offended that you're making turns? I will pick on Eldora here. They've got to do a better job. That I saw 50 straight liners yesterday, and it's early in the season and there's nowhere for people to go. And there's people, and I won't lie, Bomb and Jolly Jug is a good time. Like you can
go fast.
You can go fast, but it's not a safe place to do it.
Especially there were a lot of like little kids.
Yeah, there's not a safe there's not a safe day to do it there. And I saw their mountain safety patrol. They wear the yellow vests, and of course the ski patrol wears the red outfits, but I didn't see them on Jolly Jug, and I saw dozens of people straight lining. And I'm going to make a hasty generalization about straight liners.
I like that you're making eye contact with Ryan.
Direct
No,
eye
I didn't.
contact with Ryan.
No, he's
I'm
not
gonna
a
make
straight liner.
hasty generalization.
They're not good skiers. They just aren't. Like it's easy to straight line. It's more dangerous than you think if you're not a good skier, but you can tell by the way somebody stands on skis going 50 miles an hour if they're in control or not.
Yeah.
And most of these people are not.
I got to imagine that this time of year is way more stressful and they have way more injuries than mid-season conditions.
Without a doubt.
I'd love to talk
Absolutely.
to ski patrol and mountain safety. Just because imagine like Saturday, you saw the videos and the photos. Mountain safety must have their hands full this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
Because of not only just the straight lining, but the volume of skiers and the limited amount of terrain.
Yeah.
There has to be collisions. There has to be a slew of issues where, later in the year, everyone's spread out. And yes, there's more difficult terrain open, but you don't have this highway of skiers and straight liners and turners and jumpers. And
I think part of it yesterday was there was a million signs on the slopes that said slow down, slow.
no straight lining.
I saw twice where I would ski past the sign in the 2.5 hours I was there. Twice I skied past a sign that had somebody standing behind it watching. But there was a group of like
Probably the best
12
place
guys
to stand.
that were just making laps as fast as they could. And so they were watching ski patrol go right, so they'd go left. And so rather than parking somebody on each run and even just visually to slow them down, because I'm sure they would slow down if they saw ski patrol. I don't know. And I don't know how many people they had available in the afternoon. It wasn't as busy as it is on a weekend, so they probably had fewer staff. So moving them around the mountain might be a better way to go. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's tough to like blame the ski area when they're not the people causing the problem.
Yeah.
It's less than great skiers getting their yayas out by going 50, 60, 70 miles an hour on a blue square. And I understand it from the perspective. It was hard to get out of skiing yesterday. What we want to get out of it is that thrill and that rush. But we typically do that in advanced runs in the trees.
Yeah.
And so when that's not available, I think a lot of people just turn that to speed, which there was a lot of speed out there yesterday. If you wanted it, it just seemed that first run we took, I was like, ugh, like people going by so fast. You could, and so that was, but also we again and again and again and again, I say ski the edges. You know where straight liners don't go?
Edges.
For
good
good reason. But not only is the snow better over there because people don't ski over there.
Yeah.
So it also has the advantage of you have a little bit less chance of getting skied into or something.
Yeah.
So good day.
Good day.
Kudos to Eldora. They always do a good job. I heard Iron Maiden in the lift line yesterday. There wasn't a lift line, but you go through the gates. I noticed something interesting yesterday. Did you notice the first time you went through the gate, the beep was different?
No, I didn't.
And yeah, I heard somebody go through, and I think there was like your first time of the year beep.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if somebody can confirm that, but I'm about 90% positive because I heard it, and then it happened for me and Mel, and then I was like, new beep this year. And then when we came back, it never happened again. So I think, and Ryan, since you haven't skied yet,
we'll do a test.
We'll have to do a test and see. So good stuff all around. And then, man, the highlight of my day, because skiing is, for better, for worse, is more than just what you do on the slopes. And me and Mel went and operated at Crosscut Pizza, which we're a big fan of. We tried to sit at the bar. There was nobody at the restaurant except every seat at the bar was full. So we sat at a table, and they always have a eclectic mix of beers. I had like an Outer Range, a La Cumbre, and a Daisy Cutter. And so I had 3 IPAs that were all fantastic. But what I want to shout out, Crosscut Pizza is, it's always probably, I'm not a huge pizza fan, but their pizza's just next level. It's so good. And last night I had a pizza called the Chino, and it's a pizza with white sauce and lump crab on it.
Whoa. All right.
It was absolutely the best pizza I've ever had in my life. And I'll have to say that Crosscut Pizza is one of the best restaurants in Colorado, but it's also one of the best après-skis in Colorado. So to go do a 2-hour weekday turn and burn and then just have world-class après-ski made it a pretty awesome day.
Nice.
And I would like to say, for anyone out there who is gluten-free, not by choice, highly recommend the pizza at Crosscut, because they have, I mean, honestly, I'm not sure that there's a better gluten-free crust I've had anywhere than there. I mean, it makes me feel like I'm back at home again in the world of gluten.
Yeah.
And I don't eat gluten-free pizza, but I would there. You can't tell you can tell the difference if they're side by side, but if somebody just fed it to you, you wouldn't say, is this gluten? And a lot of buns and breads.
Oh, yeah.
By the fact that you touch it and it turns back into flour, or whatever, turns into potatoes again.
Yeah.
But this stuff is, it's a great, if you're looking for an après-ski. I will say this, on weekends, good luck getting in. We were on a weekday that there wasn't many people skiing, and we also got there before the dinner crowd, because by the time we left, it was full, and it was such a cool mix of like Ned heads, climbers, skiers. There was this really
people up there that are just like on vacation,
tourists that like didn't have winter clothes on and stuff like that. So it's and there's other.
I was about to say, like, don't cut. There are a lot of good places up there.
The brewery, and there's a new place where the Pioneer Inn went, which is where I'm going to go next, because I have some great memories from the
Covered Wagon.
Yeah, from the Pioneer Inn back in the day, and now it's a really good looking establishment on the inside. They did a good job.
Nice.
So there's a place called, I think it's pronounced Bussy Brews.
The brewery.
Yeah. So we ride our bikes in the summer up there, and you can bring your dog and sit outside. And in the winter, they built out a whole new patio section. So they have tons of seating. And then our favorite breakfast place there, just to give them a shout out, is New Moon Bakery.
Yeah, it's been a while because we don't typically go there except during ski season. But yeah, Ned's got good food. It's a cool little place. They're not buying Eldora.
Yeah.
And I hope they do. But I don't think they're buying Eldora. So
fair enough.
Snow in the forecast.
Wait, really quick. I'd like to say to whoever does buy Eldora, please pave the parking lot with something really cheap so that you don't have to make us pay for parking, but that we also aren't completely muddy when we leave.
I will pay for parking 7 days a week if you pave your parking lot.
Oh, the
All right.
complaints
Bold.
I can already hear now.
Not from this guy.
Oh, please. You
Not
are
from this
so
guy.
going to be like, I can't believe it.
It's in writing now, so.
It is. It's in the transcript for the broadcast or the podcast. Their mud isn't as bad as Crested Buttes.
Yeah.
So if Eldora, if you're sad that I'm picking on you, your parking lot's way better than Crested Buttes. Because I went there in the spring.
It was
That'll
bad.
do it.
In fact, I think a lot of our stuff has mud on it still from that.
Mine definitely does. My ski boots are muddy from my last day of the season last year.
Mhm.
So snow in the forecast, I saw Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And when you get to a 10-day or a 7-day forecast, they get way less accurate. But there's snow in the forecast every day. Hoping to get back out Monday. Now that I know they have a good base, I only hit one rock yesterday, so they have good coverage. It was on the last run, of course. But it won't take a lot for people to start dropping ropes and opening runs in Colorado right now. So it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, 7-day forecast estimate is 10 to 23 inches at Eldora.
Yeah, 23
I'll go
would
a long way.
Yeah, 23 would mean a lot of open runs. And then last thing, Mel, you skied on your lines yesterday. They seem to be your go-to ski. Marcus is the rich kid with RMUs.
Yeah,
A good choice for yesterday. And I am such in ski. I don't have an A ski right now. And so I skied on my Rosignol 106 Senders. And on hard snow, they were nearly unusable. And that's why I stuck to the side and they got really good. And so I'm looking forward to skiing on those, at least for the first half of the season.
Yeah, but my question to you is, I know that you were trying to buy a replacement for the skis that broke last year.
I am.
Are you? I mean, I know you had a Facebook Marketplace experience that didn't go your way, but are you thinking of,
I look every day.
you do?
I look every day. But again, I'm a cheapskate. So I'm not going to pay more than like $350 for a pair of skis. I'm just not. I mean, the things that even yesterday, like I said, I just hit one teeny little rock, but it could have been a big rock and it could have been curtains. I mean, skis are they're fragile. It also depends on how heavy you are and where you ski. And there's a lot of factors why some people are like, I've had these for 10 years and I couldn't make a pair of skis last for 2 years. But I look every day. But if I don't get any new skis this year and I ski on those Sender TIs, it'll change my skiing because I won't be able to make those really quick, snappy turns, but I'll run a lot of stuff over.
Yeah.
Like they're like plow ahead, get out of my way skis.
I think they were K2 Mindbenders, ones that we vinyl wrapped. What's up with those these days?
Yeah, they're good. But remember, those are the Deb Armstrong skis. So they're 116 underfoot. So, I mean, I saw kids skiing on skis that big yesterday, but man, Deb Armstrong, who we love, is right. That is not the right ski for almost anybody except on specific days. And specific days meaning at least some flex in the snow, which there wasn't much of yesterday. And I mentioned this earlier in the podcast. I skied those on a powder day last year, and they were incredible.
Yeah.
Because you sit up on top of the powder, and you don't really care what's underneath it because you're going to be on top of it. So I those are locked and loaded, but they'll probably just like hide out under the sofa in the van
until it's the right time.
Yeah, until everybody's struggling on wet powder or it snows so much, and I'll be like, here we go.
I got to mount my new skis still.
A new pair of RMUs.
Correct.
So this is the guy that had hand-me-down skis, and now calls. Oh, so I'm going to pick on Marcus. Yesterday he's like, I got to get my new RMUs mounted, and I'm thinking, why? And then he's like, yeah, these are my rock skis. I was like, let me see the bottom. And the bottom's like in mint
Pristine.
condition. And I did make this comment. He's like, I wouldn't want to ski on my new skis yet. You can get away with skiing on your new skis this time of year. It's after they start to open runs is when you can't get away with it. That right now it's all focused on 3 runs, snowmaking, no rocks. You know, you really aren't going to hit anything. It's once they start opening things and once they start dropping ropes and the trees are open is when. But if I had a brand new pair of skis yesterday, I would have taken them. And yesterday would be a great day because one of the reasons to take a brand new pair of skis up uber early when, again, there isn't much open is it's icy and brand new skis have edges. So it's always a good choice. And my skis, because they'd only been skied on a few times, had edges yesterday. They just aren't very good on hard snow. They're made for softer snow.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with them.
Can I ask the team? I have 2 questions for everybody. The first one, because of what Dave was just talking about, is Does anybody else have like new equipment goals this year? Like, what are you going to buy anything for this season that's like your thing for the year?
You don't listen to the burner episodes?
No, I guess I didn't
Yeah,
listen to
we
the
already
last
had
burner.
this conversation.
Okay. Well, then
But you know what I want to get?
What's that?
I want to get the Carve.
Oh, that does look sweet.
I'm so into analytics of my skiing and stuff, and
the sensor.
my understanding is it can count your turns, and I think that's a data point that we don't count that probably is absolutely critical to
Do you
how
think
much
Strava-
Just as
does
important
that-
as vertical feet.
Yeah, vertical feet's great, and time, and you
Mhm.
know, and then you have to mix in your own equation of what kind of runs did I ski? Because yesterday, if you were fit, you could have knocked out 100,000 feet in a day. If you go to A Basin in February, you're not knocking out 100,000 vertical
Well,
feet.
and it quantifies like the types of turns you're doing too, right? Like a quote unquote power, where it's like how hard of a turn are you doing? That makes a difference.
I want to do it, but it's like this subscription based thing. and
Oh,
I was
But does
like,
it? But does it work with Strava? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good question.
And you know what? I guess I'm dumb because yesterday I got to the ski area and I was like, oh, I should have downloaded Slopes because I use Slopes. So you can import your Strava. So I used Strava yesterday, and then this morning I was like, I'm going to install Slopes, and I opened my phone and it was already on there.
Oh no.
Well, I mean, it'd be the equivalent of taking your car to the car place to get snow tires on, only for them to tell you you already have your snow tires on.
Yeah.
Carve does not work with Strava.
Oh,
Yeah.
So no, that doesn't.
So no,
count.
yeah. So well, and I don't know that you need it to work with Strava.
No, not necessarily. It's just nice to have a place where everything's kept.
But it is weird when you're like, got to get my music, got to start my Strava, got to start my Slopes, and then start my Carve.
Yeah, I couldn't live that life. Strava.
And then did you guys listen to music yesterday? I know
Yeah.
you listen to podcasts, and that's wrong. I don't know how.
How could you hear it? I feel like the music I when I'm skiing, I just hear the beat more than
so
anything.
this year when we started biking, I was listening to podcasts to just kind of, like let
Yeah.
the time go by. And it's sort of my first time skiing. I did the same thing. And I know that's so weird. I'm sure people are going to be hating on me. I bet I do a little bit of both.
Makes
Because
sense.
I have to have something in my ears because otherwise I get too in my head.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So the reason I wanted to bring up music is I listen to, and I've listened to this album before, but it's definitely one of my favorite albums. And because it's like all the songs are good, but it's Dispatch live from the Boston Woods.
Yeah.
And
I got that downloaded.
man, they put on such a good show and they interact with the audience in such a positive way. And then they have guests throughout the show, G Love, people from OAR. And if you like good music, you'll like it, but especially if you like jam band music. And I wish I knew, they seem like good guys. Like just from listening to the show, their engagement with the audience is on really positive message and stuff like that. But if you're looking for something good to ski to, Dispatch is the band, live from the Boston Woods is the album. And they have a couple live albums, but so many of their live albums are sing-alongs. Like the whole audience is singing, and I'd rather just hear Dispatch. And this has a nice mix of where they give the
yeah.
audience their chance, but they also kind of stay on the vocals. So check it
Nice.
out.
So one of the things that I realized yesterday that made me really happy is Dave has a red coat that you can spot 1,050 miles away. Like it is a very unique looking coat. Now Marcus also has
Yeah.
a very unique looking coat. It's a Grateful Dead coat, and it's got dead bears all over it. It's awesome. But it was funny when I quit before they did, and I could see them getting in line from 1,000 miles away because you both have very unique looking coats, which I think is, it's silly to say, but you can always spot your people.
It helps.
Yeah.
I used to have a black coat and black pants, and so it was literally like, well, that
a
might
black
be him.
helmet.
And a black helmet. So yeah, having an identifiable coat is nice, and it prevents you from doing things like breaking ropes.
Yeah, which would be your own mistake this time of year.
Well,
Again.
doing it this time of year would be stupid.
And I told you a story, and this is just to be clear with the audience, is 15 years ago, and I won't mention names, but we were at Breckenridge, and it was like this time of year, and there was a lot of snow. And we cut the rope and again, I get it, not cool. We cut the rope repeatedly on the same run with some of my coworkers, and one time, because then all of a sudden this run is tracked out, and that's what must have keyed ski patrol. So they snuck up on us, and they said, "Hey, stop!" And everybody but one guy skied off, and he got his pass taken away.
Oh man!
And they said, "Tell us who was with you, or we'll give your pass back in a week. Otherwise, we're taking it for like a month." And he stood his ground, and they gave his pass back like 48 hours later. Like he talked shop with them, and turned out he's kind of a big shot. And they were like, and we were wrong, but it was really good skiing. I won't mention the name, but it is somebody we work with. So
hopefully he's listening and he knows that we're talking about him.
Yes.
He knows what he did.
Initials DC. Snow in the forecast, holidays coming up. I'm a big, here's one of my silver bullets for skiing is get 10 days in before Jan 1. And the sooner you can do it, the better, because one of these days it's going to snow 24 inches. And when it's your second day of the year, you're either going to have a bad day or you're going to get hurt or something like that. And like we talked about, there's probably a lot of injuries this time of year. A lot of that comes from lack of fitness and going out and doing a sport that can, yes, it can be very easy on the body, and it can be like NFL football when you wipe out on hard snow.
Yeah.
So try to get those 10 days in, and then I'm going to be out of town for several days, and I know Ryan and Dylan are going to be out of town. So I'm hoping to get like 3 or 4 under my belt before the beginning of December when I leave town, and then I come back to a very busy work schedule. So then I'll be free again like the 17th through the end of the year. So hopefully I don't have to ski like every day that time. I mean, I would love to, but that makes work hard.
Yeah.
So get those days in. And if not, get your fitness going. I was happy that I've been doing like some treadmill incline work after work at night at my house. And I could tell it paid off yesterday, that cardio wise, I was in a good spot. And overall, I'm on my way. I wouldn't be able to handle 24 inches on a double diamond, but soon.
Yeah, totally.
January maybe. So.
Oh, and I was listening to Hosier. Sorry.
Oh,
I didn't answer that question.
Yeah. Podcast, Hoser, Dispatch. And the last thing, bring that positive attitude to the slopes. Like, bring that positive attitude to the slopes. Don't be that straight liner. Help other people. Give people the right of way. You don't need it.
Agreed.
All right. I guess.
Marcus was going to hit the button to end the episode.
We broke Mel.
Okay.